Nick, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I run a men's coaching program, and one of the things I wanted to do for 2025 is I wanted to have more real-life heroes on my podcast, share their stories and talk about that experience. And it was funny, I just Googled real-life heroes, and I start reading this story about this pizza man out in Indiana who comes across this fire and ends up rescuing this entire family that was trapped inside asleep. Unbeknownst to them, their house is on fire. And I'm just like blown away by the story. And I want to kind of go in through the whole details. It was July 11th, 2022, just a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And what a crazy experience, man. What a life-changing experience you had.
Yeah. It definitely was a second chance that I'd always wished I could have, but never imagined or dreamed of how it could be possible, But when I was blessed with my second chance in life, I haven't looked back, and I've been doing nothing but keeping my nose clean and doing the right thing.
That's cool, man. So leading up to that, I mean, you had mentioned to me before we started rolling here on the podcast that you'd been through a little bit of a rough patch. Mm-hmm. Maybe take us back to that time in your life, what's going on and kind of where you were at.
Well, it started kind of like when I was 16. I was living with my dad in Arkansas. I had kind of a hothead. I thought I knew everything, or at least I thought I knew enough that I didn't need, my dad or whatever. So I was being a butt. I got kicked out a few times until it was finally, enough and, let me come back. So I didn't go to college. I didn't do very well in school, so I didn't make it to college. I wasn't able to go to the military or the Air Force because I didn't have two eyes. And so the only other thing for me to do, was to work like a temp job long enough to get a check for cigarettes and some gas, or I would just waste my day doing stupid stuff that was just hurting my body, just to kill time.
And so for work, you were delivering pizzas at that time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So at the time, 10 years later, after 16 and all that, I'm 27. The night of the fire, the day of the fire, I was working for Papa John's. I'd work a shift that day, came home, and I still had my work shirt on. I have this thing where I'll wear my work shirt. When I get home from work, I won't change, even if I end up going for groceries or something. I just leave it on, man. I don't want to dirty up anything else, so... Yeah.
So you weren't on the clock at the time. You were actually just come from your girlfriend's house. Is that correct?
Our apartment. Yeah, we just got an apartment a week prior together.
Gotcha. Okay. So I mean, what happened? You just all of a sudden see this house on fire, or what?
Yeah, I left the apartment to have some alone time to think about what I did. Because there was some yelling and stuff back and forth. And so when I calmed down and stuff kind of made a little more sense and I was feeling apologetic, I decided to go home. I was sitting at O'Reilly's, which was a parts store that a lot of me and a lot of car enthusiasts the past 3 years would go to have car events and stuff. So that's where I was hanging out for 20 minutes. So I decided to go home, and it was in the report, it was 12:05 or so. So it was roughly midnight when I was going home. So it was probably 5 minutes away. As I'm driving, I seen a faint orange glow on my left. On the side of my eye, I'm blind in my left eye. So just what I can see is light in my peripheral. And that's pretty much all that can come through. And I seen that, just luckily enough, I seen that. And that's what got my attention.
And it was a house that was on fire. Is that correct?
Yeah. The front porch had a pretty nice size campfire size fire going on.
And so what goes through your mind at that point? I mean, are you thinking to yourself, oh man, those people need help, or you immediately just kind of react to it, or?
Yeah, I slammed on my brakes, and I looked I don't know, this thing just kind of fell into place. Right when I slammed on my brakes, I knew to look in my mirror so I could make sure it was safe. Because I was gonna put it in reverse and slam the gas and spin it around, which I did. And I went into the driveway and turned my hazards on. I tried flagging down a car that was passing by, and they didn't stop. So I knew already I didn't have my phone on me from when I left the apartment to go get gas. So I just went ahead and went straight in. I went to the opposite side of the house from the fire. And I checked to see if the door was open. Luckily, it was unlocked with the porch light, and that's when it all started, pretty much.
So when you go into this house, I mean, it's already on fire. Did you think like that you might be in danger? Do you think maybe this could be maybe a really dangerous situation for you as well?
I didn't think that exactly until I had to go back in the second time.
So you go in the first time and you start screaming, and you woke up. There were some kids sleeping, right?
Yep.
And so what happens? You hear them. You go. Did you go to them, or did they come down to you?
Well, as I'm going through the house, I'm screaming, "Your house is on fire! Hello, is anyone in here?" I find a staircase on the other side of the house, and I go up, and about a third or a quarter of the way up, a door at the end of the hallway opens from a bedroom, and then there's like the 18-year-old Sienna, and then she's holding a child in her arm, a baby, the 2-year-old, and then there's a 13-year-old next to her, and then a 14-year-old. One of those was from another family, and all four of them opened the door, was there at the same time, and had that face of like, "What are you doing in my house, man?" You know?
Yeah.
So
that's true. Did they even know their house was on fire at that point?
No, man. No, they didn't know I don't think. No, they didn't know at the time. At that moment, I didn't think they knew. Yeah. So they were just really surprised. It was like, "Y'all's house is on fire," and they didn't argue or nothing. They listened, and we all ran back the way I came in at. But it wasn't until when we made it out and I asked, "All right, is there anyone else left in there?" You know, I was hoping just to hear, "No, that's all of us." You know what I mean? I could just go ahead and go. You know what I mean? But they were like, "No, there's a baby." And then that's when like it was time to nut up or shut up, man.
So at that point, the fire's really raging.
Probably. I don't know. I'm still on the back side of the house.
Okay.
That's when I'm like, you know, like there's no time to stop. I don't waste time, dude. As soon as they stop with the Y on baby, I turn around and I go back in there and I run back to the room that they were sleeping in, presuming maybe the baby's in there. You know, I check in there, I look under the bed, I look in the closet, nothing. I check in some rooms across from each other in the hall, nothing. I went to go to check the first floor, and as I get down to the first floor from the staircase, I'm met with like this wall of non-transparent smoke, gray, darkish, muggish, whatever.
Can't see anything.
No, it's just, it looks like a monster's, but you know, like a horror movie when the monster's creeping in, you know, it's like that fog and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was like, man.
So at that point, what'd you do? Did you just go into it?
Yeah. The first attempt I hesitated, but then, cause of the heat, when I felt it on my ankle.
Definitely feel it.
Yeah, when you step into the smoke, you could feel it. Yeah. But then I heard the baby crying, and whenever I heard her, I just kind of like, I didn't think about it. I just went in, you know, like, I don't know, like, obviously I know thinking about it, I'm going to think about it. And if I don't think about it, which I'm really good about doing stuff and not thinking about, you know what I mean? So
turns out some of our liabilities can be our assets sometimes, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So literally throw yourself in front of a mental bus, you know, you can get some stuff accomplished. So
you go throw yourself into this and you find the baby, or?
Yeah. I'm searching. I can't see, obviously. All I can do is hear. It was, from my recollection, it was a pretty straight path. I kind of ran into her with my feet and then picked her up. You know, I followed her the sound and I picked her up and I carried her back, and I turned around to go through the back door that I'd entered in. But I don't know if I was just, I don't know what was going on, but for some reason I thought the back door was right there at the bottom of the staircase. But in reality, it's actually on the other side of the house, on that back side of their house. And so we start getting further into the smoke, and it's getting dark, and you can't see no light. And so I turn around because I'm not feeling no walls or nothing, man. And I turn around and I could still see this like faint light going up the staircase hallway, and like a nightlight or whatever, you know. And so I follow that, and we get to the stairs, and then we run up the staircase, and like second to the top, I fall, I trip over it. And then I like go to get up, and then I see the fire just like raging. It's like made its way halfway down the hallway, through the bedrooms, past the first two rooms that were across from each other. And so it only left half the hallway, and there was two doorways open. I don't remember if I looked into them based off of like how many times I've told the story and stuff. I never said I looked in those rooms, so I don't know if maybe they were so openly exposed, I just was able to glance and keep going or whatnot. But those 2 rooms surprised me. One was a bathroom and it had like an RV size window, and then another one was like a bedroom that had a closet, and it was probably the little girl's room that I went back in for. It looked like a 6 or 7-year-old's room with the princesses and stuff purple. So that's the room we got to. That was our only exit. And believe it or not, come to find out, funny thing is, right when I'm busting the window out and we're jumping out, there's firemen going up under us with a ladder to the backside.
Wait, did you jump out like a 2nd floor window?
Yeah, man, I hightailed it. I took some steps back. She said something like, I don't want to jump. And then
how old was the kid? The baby?
5.
Oh, it was a 5-year-old.
5-year-old, yeah. Yep. And I don't know if it's because the idea just came because of her or if it was just that flight or fight thing or whatever, but immediately after she said that, I launched forward, man. I went
you're
shoulders
holding her
forward.
in your arms at that point, or what?
Yeah, I'm holding her in my left arm. I got done punching the window out with my right arm. The string got caught on her, entangled on her ankle, so I had to like stop to unwrap the curtain string from around her ankle after the curtain was like
just
hanging
like
halfway.
in the movies.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man, really? Like, yeah, it's about to, yeah. So, but luckily, yeah, as soon as I get that done, man, I knew like there is no time to waste. So I'd punch the window out. Flames roar past the window from the oxygen, and we just jump, man. I just jump, take some steps, and I jump shoulder first, head first, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, free bird, man. You know what I mean? Free bird, brother. So
did you like kind of just roll and kind of protect her as you're falling, or what?
Yeah. So like with the last step I had, I was able to kind of pivot off of it. And so when we landed, I took all the impact on my chest with her, you know. And I'm a big dude, man. I've never broken a bone. I've drank a gallon of milk a day. I mean, I'm made for this stuff, man. So I wasn't worried about it.
So were the firefighters, you said they were going up as you jump out the window?
Yeah, they were walking like I jumped pretty much maybe right over them. Like they were going around the corner of the back of the house with the ladder right as soon as I'm flying through the air.
Did they see you come out the window and just be like, what the heck?
Yeah. They heard the glass breaking and they thought it was just the fire busting stuff open and they didn't think to look. And the next thing you know, there's a dude flying out the window.
That's unbelievable, dude.
I thought it was coincidence. I was like, damn, that's funny. Because like they told me that when they're showing me the report and all that stuff, the like day after I got out of the hospital or whatever. Yeah, it was some crazy stuff. I was like, they were like, man, if you had just looked down, you would have just been able to climb out the ladder. I was like, dude, yeah.
No, at that point, I mean, you got a fire about to take you over, you know? I mean, you just got to get out of the house.
I'm worried about it exploding, man. I've seen Fast and Furious. You know what I mean? That house goes kapooey.
How close was, how much more time, and if you didn't go in and get that girl, and what if she, you know, probably been killed by the fire?
Yeah, because she would have, I don't want to go into detail on what could have happened in case family members or anybody's listening like that. You know, it's traumatic as it is. But you know, before I found her, the floor that she was on was a hot floor. There was no visibility and a lot of smoke.
Wow.
And the first floor that all of them were asleep in was the master bedroom that was sitting right over the top of the living room, which was where the fire was on the other side of the wall.
Wow.
On the front door.
So you had some injuries. I know you had to go to the hospital, and what were your injuries from the whole thing?
I had smoke inhalation. I forgot to get a picture of how much I coughed up. I got sidetracked with all the calls and stuff. But it was probably about a good cup of it. It was a lot. And then it's a funny story on how they got that out. And then I got a deep laceration in my forearm, my right arm.
From busting the window out?
Yeah, I got some scars from cuts or whatever from the window cutting it open. And yeah, they're pretty gnarly. That one looks like a smiley face.
Those ones remind you that day, though? Those are probably some good scars.
Yeah, dude, these are battle scars, man. These are hero scars, whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not ashamed at all. I didn't use no ointment or nothing to hide these. I'm proud of them. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So there's that. I got some burns on the technical terms called the buttocks.
On your ass?
Yeah, on my ass. Yeah, dude, it was rough, man. The first 2-3 weeks, dude, trying to sit on the toilet. I'm one of those guys that'll be on your phone 10, 15, 20 minutes on the toilet. I forgot about it, dude. And I went to get up and I was stuck.
Because of the burns?
Yeah, dude. The meat had like mended to the toilet seat, dude. You can ask my girlfriend. I'm like trying to like pry myself off for like 10 minutes.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, it was raunchy. And then my socks sticking to my burns my burns on my feet. And then like the worst one was my arm. Like the first day, dude, if you didn't change it every like hour and a half or so, the bandage would start mending with the skin and all that. Oh, it was rough, dude. It was real rough. Like it happened a few times where I had to run it under the faucet and slowly just like keep pressure on it so it'll slowly just peel off in the most least painful way. Yeah.
So what causes a stranger to go run in and, a person to go run in and save complete strangers, people he's never met before, especially going back in knowing, just the volatility of the situation?
Having faith that doing the right thing, having faith in doing the right thing goes a long way. If you practice you can start at any age in your life. But if you practice it every day and just keep working on getting better, things like that'll come along and you'll choose to not record, or not just keep driving and try to forget that you even seen it. You may end up being like, man, I think I might feel a little better doing something like this, even if it is going to be a little scary.
Yeah.
But let's just try.
Yeah. I mean, you were hardwired to react that way in that situation based on probably thousands of micro decisions you'd made over the years.
Yeah, dude. I put myself through hell after 16, man, because I didn't think I was going to amount to be nothing. So I needed to be prepared to be amounted for nothing, like used to living outside. Like, man, I remember this point I was like staying in storm shelters in Arkansas. I would like at nighttime I would sneak from storm shelter to storm shelter in someone's backyard and camp it out. You know what I mean? Like, not because I really wanted to, but just because like that was the best life I was getting in life. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna make the best of it. So whatever life threw at me, dude, I was ready for it, made the best out of it. I always felt like the more challenges like that, the better, make what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah. Do you ever replay that night in your head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I do it.
What do you take away from it?
Well, almost every day, I think about the questions I'm asked and how to word it, because some people can take it the wrong way, especially if they wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But what I've learned that I want to share with everybody is not everybody can physically do what I did. Maybe the smartest thing that someone can do may not be trying to run into a suicide attempt, because maybe you're 70 or maybe you have type 2 diabetes and you know it, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case is. Maybe the smartest thing you can do is have your mind made up to make the decision that as soon as you see something like that, you're calling 911. Like there's no end ifs, buts about it, no thinking about it. You already have your mind set.
Yeah. So a young, healthy guy like yourself, though, what do you recommend to people that come across a similar situation? Just jump in and go for it?
Yeah, just jump in and go for it, man. It'll be done and over before you know it. Just get it done and over with. Knock it out.
What caused the fire?
So in the police report, it said a cigarette butt. The father, before him and his wife went out on a date night, he'd put a cigarette out in a coffee can of some sort, maybe, and then dumped it out on the porch to empty it, and it rolled over. One of them caught fire, or maybe it was the same one he was smoking on. It rolled over, caught the propane grill on fire, melted a hole in the hose, and then
Just went from there.
Yeah, the neighbor across the road, he told me when he went to try to chase and help me out, he seen me run around the side of the house. So he left his house and crossed the road, and he went to run around the side of the house. But he's a heavier gentleman, not in the best health as far, to be doing this kind of stuff, right? He made a smart decision. The propane tank exploded, or there was some kind of explosion from there, and he made the right decision, and that was to turn around and try to assist his wife with calling, aiding for 911 and stuff like that. The last thing I need someone doing is making themselves, I can't think of the word.
A liability.
A liability, yeah. If you know that you're not physically capable of doing something, you probably shouldn't take the chance.
Well, that's kind of a wake-up call too, though, right? Like one of the things I coach in my program with my men is you can't be a liability to the people in your world. As a man in today's world, you have to physically, financially, and emotionally be able to support the people around you. And, I don't know if you've ever seen that. There's a video online of, and actually a homeless guy ends up saving the day, but there's this lady putting her baby in the car, and she's very obese, and the baby cart starts rolling towards the highway. And it's like going to go into like heavy traffic. And at the last second, this homeless guy, when she goes to rescue the baby, but she falls over, she can't get back up because she's too overweight. And there's this little, this homeless guy comes and ends up grabbing the baby right before it goes into the freeway.
Right on
or the
W.
highway. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's like,
that's good.
You start seeing that and you kind of hear the story, what you're saying about this neighbor, like God bless him for calling 911, but he missed his opportunity to be able to rescue they could have died if you weren't there. And that person was actually on the scene, but because he physically couldn't do the job, he wasn't going to be able to help those people in that situation. That's just kind of a crazy little wake up call.
Are you talking about the person that was in the car that couldn't get out?
That one, yeah, I was talking about both situations. Yeah, so the person that was putting the baby in the car, they were outside the car, but they fell over trying to like chase the baby.
Oh, so the homeless man. Luckily that gentleman, that kind soul.
Yeah, he happened to just be there. Man, but if not, the baby was literally going on to 50-mile-an-hour traffic.
Man, I swear, some of the coolest things come from some of the least people you would expect. Man, the people that are in the hardest of times mentally. When you're in those crises, man, you're just kind of waiting for your day to go. You know what I mean? To go to heaven. Earth kind of sucks sometimes, and maybe that could have been part of it too, man. Why me and or then that gentleman did what he did is because we don't think about repercussions like that. I didn't have a family when I thought I did. I was 2 months into finding out my son was coming along, but I was 2 months fresh to that and it didn't hit. I was still thinking like, whatever happens to me, but everything happens for a reason. And because I didn't think about my son, it happened for a reason that way, whatever comes from it. I'm glad, I didn't die and, and I'm glad that baby got saved. I'm glad that there's people out there that have nothing to lose sometimes, because sometimes that causes the greatest to come out of us sometimes when we have nothing.
When your situation, it sounds like, you just, again, you talk about this opportunity that presented itself to you and you took it, and a lot of people don't. I don't know if you've ever seen, in fact, I don't know if you saw the video of in New York on the subway a couple of weeks ago, some dude lit this lady on fire. Did you see that by chance?
No.
It's this crazy story.
Shame on him.
Yeah. And he was literally sitting there and like fanning the flames, and they showed people just walking by. Like people, like he was literally like he killed like this lady, like by lighting her on fire, just a random stranger on the subway, and just a horrible situation. But nobody, like all these people were just standing by watching and didn't do anything. So
maybe it's how they were raised. Whoever raised them, man. Can't always blame, the person. You gotta sometimes blame whoever raised them or, how they got raised.
So how can a person prepare themselves so that when the situation does come up for them, that they're ready for the moment? It's not too big.
Decide whether or not you're ready to sacrifice yourself for anybody else in this world, whether you know them or not. That's the most selfless thing somebody can do, is be prepared to sacrifice their life, even if it's for somebody they hate or don't like or something like that. It don't matter. That's
beautiful, man. What's your current relationship with the family? Do you talk to them much?
No. I kind of did, and then I didn't. Stopped. Right now, where things are is my dad's kind of brainwashed the dad into thinking that I'm a scam artist and all I do is lie. So that's where we're at with that.
Do you want to go into that at all? No?
Yeah, no, it is what it is. It's fine. I tried being respectful and stuff like that, and that's all I'm going to be is respectful. But I've quit talking to David because I asked him to, be an ear in between me and my dad. My dad's been doing some shiesty stuff. I'll fill you in on that. It has to do with like a lot of the money I inherited, and he has ownership. He tricked me out of the ownership of and won't give it back now. And so for like the past 2 years, like around wintertime, my dad will be like, he'll say he's going to help me get out of the camper and finally buy the house or whatever, and then he won't. And long story short, we're just having to go to court over it and get things settled that way. But yeah, that's why me and David don't talk right now. Is because
David's the father of the family that you rescued.
Yeah, I'm upset that he thinks that, or that he let my dad, trick him into thinking that. But if that's what he thinks, then it is what it is. But I'm not gonna spend my time trying to defend myself. Sure. Like, who I am, David.
What was the initial reaction of the mom and dad when they came home and found out what had happened and found out your role in everything?
So I was in the hospital when I got the call from one of the family members, which was David.
Okay.
That was the first time, and he was emotionless, speechless. It was hard for him to talk. He was very thankful and grateful I was there. He told me it a billion times over and over and over. So. And
then obviously the story got picked up. I mean, the firefighters, I'm sure, talked about this guy coming flying through the window and everything else.
Yeah.
Was that a little bit overwhelming to kind of like be put in this spotlight? You're just doing something that came naturally to you in this moment. And next thing you know, I think you won the Carnegie Hero Award, which is, I think, one of the highest awards you can get as a citizen for being a hero, basically.
Yes, sir.
And so, I mean, how did your life change after the experience?
Well, it wasn't easy dealing with all of the attention and media, because before that, I was the guy that would get high and go out and whip his Cobalt around with drag slick radials in the snow, not giving a crap what happens to him or his car. Now, as far as like being in parking lots with people, I care about everybody else, right?
Yeah.
But when it's all isolated and it's just me, man, I'm full pedal to the metal. But I was doing a lot of things that wasn't role model worthy. It wasn't anything like that. And so whenever all the media and everything hit, and I was given my second chance with life to do it right this time, everything just kind of added up, and I realized I have to, this is my role in life that God gave me. And I can either choose to throw it away and never feel proud about myself and who I am, 10 times worse, or I can make something great out of it and strive from it. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be an inspiration, a role model. That was the hardest thing. And every day, I gotta make sure I'm keeping my speed limit maintained. I gotta make sure I'm paying attention. I gotta make sure there's so many things.
You feel a lot of pressure now to have to keep up like this
like
hero
Big Brother
persona.
Like Big Brother, you know what I mean? And I was never that kind of person, you know what I mean? I was honest, never stole, or I never did that stuff, but like, yeah, I was definitely not the best role model, but now, I got to be on my P's and Q's with stuff and definitely pay attention to what I say and how I word it.
So being a father now, does it give you even different perspective on what you did that day to rescue somebody else's kids?
Yeah. If my son Bryson was my age or so roughly, let's just say if he was roughly my age when that happened, and I was and I was the same age my father is for me to him, and I found out he did something, he did that. At first, I think I'd be upset because I'd feel like, damn, I almost lost my son, right? But then I'd realize what he did, what was a good thing, like a good inspirational thing. Now, let's say if I lost my son in that house fire, would I been upset at first that he tried doing something so stupid? Yeah. But then when I'd calmed down and realized he made a sacrifice for the greater of good and what his sacrifice meant, that right there kind of opens my eyes and to anybody out there who has a child, you're only setting a good example. It's just, I don't know, it's your decision, but don't sit back, don't do nothing. Don't be like the rest of the sheep in the world. Try to be different. It's the only way we're going to flip the scale and bring this world back around.
Yeah, man. Well, I loved, reading your story and watching as I, researched and saw what you did, because we live in a world today where I think one of the things that doesn't get enough attention is your everyday, just normal dudes that have their shit and, they got problems and they got things they're dealing with, like all of us. We all do. Mm-hmm. But when the opportunity presented itself, you stepped up and became a hero, man, like literally a real life hero. And I hope you take that in and appreciate just that, that's who you are in a moment of complete crisis, in a moment where you got to have life put it right in front of your face and say, all right, who are you as a man? I mean, that was the ultimate sacrifice. You didn't even think twice. You jumped in twice into the fire for a complete stranger.
Well, I can tell you this: I don't like pain, so I didn't plan on sticking in that heat for very long. So, I think anybody in the same situation would have done the same thing. You just can't give up. Never give up. Don't ever give up. Try to be a better you than you was yesterday. Be the best you can be. And just try to be a good role model and try to do the right thing all the time, every day, and it'll come naturally.
Yeah. Well, I give you one of those hoodies that says "We are the they." That's the premise of my entire, men's group, is that, people always say, man, they need to do something about this. Like, somebody needs to fix this. Somebody needs to do, see a house on fire. Most people would look at that, just so you know, and say, like, man, somebody needs to help them. And, the reason why it's called "We are the they" is because we always say, like, when something needs to get done like that, is like, there is no they. We are the they. We're the ones that need to step up and take action and do something about that. And so that's why I'm looking for stories this year of real life heroes. I want to share them because I think a lot of times masculinity can be under attack, right? Men, It's very difficult in today's world in a lot of ways for men, and there's a lot of pressure. I mean, even for yourself. A lot of
confusion.
I think a lot of confusion. Amen. And I think you hinted on something a little bit earlier. I want to touch on a little bit more, but like,
sure,
you are just a normal guy with all of your issues and just, vulnerabilities and everything else that comes with just being a human being. Yeah. And all of a sudden you get thrust in the spotlight as a hero. And I think one of the things that until I sat down and started talking to you about this, like that maybe I didn't even really consider, is the fact that there's a whole new set of pressure that comes upon you as a human being now, because people are looking to you and they want you to be this person probably always, right?
Yeah, dude, could you imagine seeing me with the DUI in the jail thing? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, that'd be a horrible thing.
I felt that a little bit having a men's group, right? Like, I have this extra level of pressure to do my life right. And I still make mistakes, and I'm still, a fallible human. I still have insecurities, and I have things that I should do better. And it's tricky because I think that there's more room to not be perfect than we give ourselves. I think everybody deep down knows they have their own bullshit. And so like, people are more willing to give you a little bit of rope with that. But I think there's power in just recognizing it and being able to go, hey man, even though you're a hero, you're still allowed to like, have problems and to fall backwards sometimes. And, life is not this linear straight line where you go from where you are to this place you want to be. It's like you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up.
All day, yeah.
And so I just want to kind of recognize that, like, I hope you feel that, like, you're, like, yes, I think you've been put on a pedestal, rightfully so, as you should be. But it's okay for you too to like not have to have, I don't think you have to have that pressure of just always needing to have your shit together still and not making any mistakes ever. Like, regardless of, your day-to-day actions, like that day you were a hero, man. And we get to decide every day that we wake up how we want to go about our lives or what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool, man. Well, do you have any advice for your average people out there like yourself that are just trying to do life and maybe, having come from, again, with this experience, it's just such a life-altering experience for a human being. But any advice you have for anybody else?
Yeah, listen to a lot of Juice World. Stay away from
the hell is Juice World.
This guy, man,
wasn't expecting you to go there with the advice.
This guy is cool, man. He makes a lot of really good music. He's like a young king, man. He passed away when he was 19. You just got to check him out, man. You got to check him out. His music helped me out through a lot of tough times and kind of inspired me and stuff. And so like, and that's somebody that I felt I could understand, and maybe vice versa, you know, I could relate to and stuff like that. He sung about a lot of those issues and stuff like that. And so, yeah, just shout out to Juice. You know, y'all need to check him out. If y'all are going through it, man, it'll help you power through it. And then watch your superhero movies. Well, Spider-Man was my favorite growing up. You can ask my mom. I had stickers of them all in my bedroom, and just keep practicing, trying to do the right thing. It's free, you know, and it just takes practice. And I'm not perfect, but hard times made something good, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the moral of the story, man, is you make all these little decisions every day and just trying to do the right thing. And then so when this big opportunity presents itself, of course, automatically you jumped on it.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of all men, dude, appreciate you. And you know, the example you set is a real life hero, man. And if you guys want to watch the video, go to YouTube and type in there, Nick Bostic. You can just type that in. It's going to pull it up. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to kind of just follow you or follow your journey?
877-5309. No, not really. No, y'all can holler at me, follow me or whatever on social media, Instagram, Facebook, X. My Instagram is What's Drifting without the H. It's WATZ Drifting. And then my Facebook, as you know, at Nick Bostic. X would be Nick Bostic. And if y'all don't mind, check out my music. You know, I ain't got a whole lot, but I got a lot that means that's pretty good to me. And if you go on YouTube and look up my name, or an old alias I had was like Ill Dutch, lowercase I apostrophe, or lowercase I apostrophe L, or lowercase I capital L apostrophe capital L space Dutch. I know it's really complicated. That's why I changed it.
You didn't make it easy to find you, bro.
No, I did not. Not at all.
What's your favorite song? We'll play it at the end of this interview on the podcast. You guys can keep listening. I'll put it on there.
Oh man, Get Sober. It was one I made in my car with some Apple earbuds. So the quality's not the best, but if you skip about halfway through it, it gets better. Like, the quality gets better.
We'll play the second half of it.
All right, man. Yeah, that was a real good one. Get Sober, guys.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, and I appreciate you. Thank you for getting me out here.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Awesome.